I will show you how to use iter8 to perform an automated ABN test. You can see iter8 analytics and iter8 controller running in my iter8 namespace, and my sample application pod is running in my current namespace. And right now, there are no ongoing iter8 experiments in that namespace. We will demonstrate experimenting with 3 different versions of a service named product page. Currently, only version 1 is running. When version 1 runs, you see a red string that I am highlighting on the web page right now. Version 2 changes that color to yellow, and version 3 changes that color to green. Now let's check the service metrics. You see request rate on the upper left, mean request latency on the upper right. You see also a metric related to revenue that is supposed to capture the number of books purchased as people browse our sample bookstore website. Now let's define an ABN test experiment for the product page service. In this definition, we specify that version 1 of product page is our baseline version, and versions 2 and 3 are our candidate versions. Our criteria for this experiment is defined as follows. In order for the candidate versions to be acceptable, their mean latency must be below 1.6 times that of the latest of the baseline version. All versions to be acceptable need to have an error rate below 5%. 95% of their requests must be below 500 milliseconds. And the winning version is supposed to maximize the reward metric, mean number of books purchased, while satisfying the requirements on latency and error. For the purpose of this demo, this ABN test will run for 20 iterations of 20 seconds each. We are now running kubectl-apply to create an experiment from the YAML file that you saw earlier. And then we're going to list the experiments in this namespace, and you see that that experiment was created, but it's in pause state because the candidates are missing. This is expected because versions 2 and 3 of product page are not running yet. Next, let's deploy versions 2 and 3 of product page so that the experiment can automatically start. Once iter8 detects that the candidates are available and running, it will automatically start the experiment. These deployments are typically done through a CI/CD pipeline, but for the purpose of this demo, we will do it manually. We have now deployed versions 2 and 3 of product page, and you see that the experiment is actually progressing. You see the traffic split at the bottom, 80-10-10, and the current best version is product page version 2 with 33% of confidence. That's what iter8 is currently telling us. Now we have a 60-20-20 traffic split. Version 2 is still the best version. Every time iter8 makes a version assessment and a traffic update, it generates a Kubernetes event, as you can see. iter8 has just reported that the best version is no longer version 2, but rather version 3, with a confidence of 76%. Let's quickly take a look at the metrics. You see that the mean latency of product page version 2, the yellow line, is higher than that of both versions 1 and 3. Refreshing the bookstore's website a few times, you see the color switching from red to green, and a little bit to yellow, reflecting how the traffic is being split right now. Mostly to V1 and V3, and not so much to V2, which is the yellow. iter8 has now a confidence of 89% that version 3 is the best version. And you can see the traffic gradually shifting from versions 1 and 2 to version 3. Now the confidence is 99%, and iter8 is pretty much ready to declare a winner. So if you look at the metrics, you see that version 2 is violating our mean latency criterion. You see that there's a whole bunch of requests that are above 500 milliseconds, as indicated by the latency percentiles. And even though version 2 has the highest reward, it's violating the criterion on latency. And version 3 in turn satisfies the criterion on latency and has a reward higher than V1. Hence, it is the best version. Right now the confidence is 100%, and the vast majority of the traffic, 96%, 97% now, is going to version 3. The experiment continues with almost no traffic to versions 1 and 2. That's because we specified that the duration of the experiment is 20 iterations. We didn't specify an early termination in this case. Now you see again the metrics. You see a reward for V3 higher than a reward for V1, and you see that V2 has the highest reward, but it violates the criterion on latency. If we fast forward the video, you see that iteration 20, the experiment is completed and all traffic is going to the winner version. That's the version that shows the green color on the web page, no more reds or yellows.